Hello everybody. Now we'll discuss chapter 2 in Civics, Federalism. So first of all, what do you mean by federalism? The vertical division of power among the different levels of government is called federalism. Federalism is a system of government in which power is divided and shared between a central authority and many regional authorities. Both these levels enjoy power independent of each other as they focus on the common national interests and the regional interests respectively. The key features of federalism are as follows. Number 1, there are 2 or more levels or tiers of government. Number 2, each tier or level has its own jurisdiction in the matters of legislation, taxation, and administration. Number 3, each tier's jurisdictions are specified clearly in the country's constitution. Number 4, the fundamental provisions of the constitution cannot be unilaterally changed by one level of the government alone and requires the consent of both the levels of the government in order to do so in case a need arises for that. Number 5, courts have the power to interpret the constitution and the powers of the different government levels. The Supreme Court acts as an umpire in case disputes arise between various government levels. Number 6, sources of revenue for each government level is clearly specified to ensure its financial autonomy. Number 7, it has dual objectives to safeguard and promote the country's unity and also to accommodate regional diversity harmoniously. Now we'll discuss this topic. What makes India a federal country? The threefold distribution of legislative powers between the union and the state governments as specified by the Constitution makes India a federal country. It contains 3 lists which are as follows. Number 1, Union List. It includes subjects of national importance such as defense, foreign affairs, banking, communications and currency. The union government alone can make laws regarding these topics or issues. Number 2, State List. It contains subjects of state and local importance such as police, trade, commerce, agriculture and irrigation. The state governments alone can make laws regarding these topics or issues in their respective states. Number 3, Concurrent List. Marriage, adoption and succession. Both the union and the state governments can make laws on the subjects mentioned on this list. If their laws conflict with each other, then the law made by the union government will prevail. Also, according to our constitution, the union government has the power to legislate on additional or residuary subjects. The judiciary plays an important role in overseeing the constitutional provisions and procedures. The union and the state governments have the power to raise resources by levying taxes on the people to carry out the various responsibilities assigned to each of them. Now we'll discuss this topic. How is federalism practiced? The success of federalism in India is mainly due to the nature of its democratic politics, which ensured the spirit of federalism, respect for diversity, and unity among all the country's people. Now further we will discuss this subtopic, linguistic states. The creation of linguistic states was the first and a major test for the democratic politics in our country, India. In 1947, the boundaries of several old Indian states were changed in order to create new Indian states. This was done to ensure that people who spoke the same language lived in the same state. Also, some states were created to recognize differences based on culture, ethnicity, or geography. For example, Nagaland, Uttarakhand, and Jharkhand. Now we'll discuss this topic, language policy. A second test for Indian federalism is the language policy. Hindi was identified as the official language of our country, India. Besides Hindi, there are 21 other scheduled languages recognized by the Constitution of India. English, along with Hindi, is used for all official purposes in India. Now we'll discuss this topic, center-state relations. Efficient restructuring of the center-state relations also has strengthened federalism in India. It began significantly after 1990 in the form of coalition central governments. So the national parties had to enter into alliances with various regional parties in order to get a clear majority in the Lok Sabha. This led to efficient power sharing and respect for the autonomy of the state governments. Now we'll discuss this topic, decentralization in India. When power is taken away from the central and the state governments and given to the local governments, it is called as decentralization. This has enhanced the people's participation in our democracy significantly. A major step towards decentralization was taken in 1992. The Constitution was amended to make the local governments more effective. Now it is constitutionally mandatory to hold regular elections to the various local government bodies. Seats are reserved in the elected bodies and institutions like the scheduled caste, scheduled tribes and other backward classes. At least 1/3 of all the positions are reserved for women. An independent institution called the State Election Commission has been created in each state to conduct Panchayat and municipal elections. The state governments are required to share some power and revenue with the various local government bodies. The nature of this sharing varies from state to state. Rural local government is also called as the Panchayati Raj. Each village or a group of villages has a Gram Panchayat. This is a council of several ward members called Panchas and a president also called as the Sarpanch or the village headman. They are directly elected by the village people and they make the decisions regarding all the aspects of the entire village or a group of villages. The Gram Sabha supervises the Gram Panchayat. The Gram Sabha meeting is held at least twice or thrice in a year in order to review the various performances of the Gram Panchayat. A few Gram Panchayats are grouped together under a Panchayat Samiti or block or mandal. All the Panchayat Samitis or mandals in a district together constitute the Zilla Parishad or the District Parishad, headed by the Zilla Parishad chairperson. Similarly, local government bodies exist for urban areas as well, called as municipalities, which are set up in towns. Big cities are constituted into municipal corporations and headed by the municipal chairperson, usually called as the mayor of the city. So, in this way, constitutional status for the various local governments has deepened democracy in our country, India. It has also increased women's participation in our country's democracy as well. Nevertheless, there are certain difficulties on the way, which are as follows. Number 1, Gram Sabha elections are held quite irregularly. Most state governments have not transferred significant powers to the various local governments, nor have they given them adequate resources as well. So, the ideal of self-government is thus still a long way ahead of us. So, in this way, we studied this chapter, Chapter 2, Federalism. So, please visit our website, shankarji.com, to download the notes and the important questions for this chapter. The link for the same is given in the description below. And you can also do some Google search and add some additional information to the existing knowledge which we have. And if you have any doubts or suggestions, you can let us know in the comment section below. Thank you so much. Have a great day.